Hello, everybody. Welcome to No Sevens Dice Club Sports Betting Football Edition. Today, we are going to be talking about our sports picks for this upcoming Saturday. I know I'm producing these picks on Thursday. I was trying to get our guest speaker all week long, so I was delaying this. Hopefully, to have our guest speaker with us today. She unfortunately could not be with us this week, but she guaranteed that she will make it her effort to be here next week. So I really look forward to seeing her next week. But she did give me her picks, so we are going to go ahead and put in the picks. And it is, I think her picks are going to do really well. Some of them I'm a little questionable about, but she does really well picking. She helps me out with my baseball. And that's the reason why, if you notice in the baseball, we are 14 wins and 1 loss. I did bet on that Yankees game last Friday. Received a lot of crazy comments about them playing the Boston Red Sox, and for all those Boston fans, I mean, it's baseball. I mean, what can I say? That game went into the 12th inning. The Yankees won that game in the 12th inning. It was a very close game, and just like I predicted, the Yankees did win by 1 point, so I did win that game. The rest of them were really great. That North Carolina State game that I was a little bit questionable about, they pulled it off with a touchdown in the very end last week. I think there was 45 seconds left of that game. Ended up winning that game 45-41. So I covered that game. So I went to start out the season. I did 4-0, which is amazing. And but we can't talk about that. Last week was great. We celebrated. Now we have to focus on this week. And every week, it gets harder. I mean, it took me a solid day to figure out these picks on where I'm going to go. And take your time. Like, it took me a solid day to figure out where I'm going to go with these picks. And hopefully I made the right picks, because it's pretty equally matched. Las Vegas has got this pretty fine-tuned right now. Normally they're a little offset in the beginning of the season, and usually by the end they fine-tune it. Well, this year they fine-tuned it really well in the beginning. So let's dive right into it. There is 2 big in-state rival games this early on in the season. Normally it happens at the end of the season. There's 2 huge matchups going down. The first one we're going to talk about is Texas versus Texas Tech. Texas is minus 18. Texas is ranked number 18, and so what they are first place in the Big 12, even though they have not had any conference play. So it's kind of hard to rank them first place. But they did play Texas El Paso, so that was another in-state rival, if you want to call it that. I don't really think it is, but they did play them last Saturday, and it was 59-3. I mean, they just blew the doors off of El Paso. I mean, of course, it's a lesser school, but this one, Texas Tech, is going to give you a little bit more run for your money. And Texas Tech, they ended up playing last week. They played Houston Baptist, and if you look at the score, it was 35-33. And you're thinking to yourself, no sevens, who in the world is Houston Baptist? Exactly. I had to Google them. I thought it was a junior high team, but they barely won against Houston Baptist. So I saw this and I jumped all over Texas minus 18. I think they're going to handle business. I expect this to be closer to the Texas El Paso game, where it's going to be pretty much 59-3. I don't think it's going to be that much. I expect this to be about 45 to maybe 10 to 14 points on Texas Tech. So I think Texas is going to easily cover. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go put down Texas minus 18. So we're going to go ahead and write that down. We're going to put Texas minus 18. All right, there we go. Texas minus 18. So, and next up is Oklahoma minus 28 versus Kansas State. So it looks like we're getting some of these bigger schools starting to play later on in the season. And also, the SEC is back. So if you guys are big SEC fans like I am, the SEC is back, and they're going to be playing some games. So let's go ahead and let's dive into this Oklahoma. Oklahoma is minus 28 against Kansas State. Oklahoma is going to win this game outright. Now, are they going to be able to cover the 28 points? That's the great question. I believe so, but this is the first game that Oklahoma is playing this season, so there's a lot of questionables. They are poised to be in the the playoff race. If there is a playoff race, who knows what this bowl season is going to be. But that's what the ESPN analysis are saying, that they're poised to be in the playoff race if there is one coming up. So what I did was, there's really not too much to dissect from Oklahoma's game from last week or anything else, since that this is their first game. Kansas State, they went ahead and they played Arkansas State, and they kept it pretty close, but this is a whole different level. You're not playing Arkansas State like you did last week. Arkansas State, they lost to Arkansas State. The score was 31-35. So it was a close game, but I don't think that they're going to be able to compete at the level of Oklahoma. Oklahoma's going to win this game outright. But what I am thinking is that Kansas State's probably going to score probably about 10, 14 points, might be 21, and that's what makes this a little bit crazy. I don't think they're going to get past 14 points. Maybe when Oklahoma puts in all their third and fourth string in the fourth quarter, they're going to probably start getting points in garbage time. But I think Oklahoma is going to score at least 45 points. This is going to be a great tune-up for their offense because they really haven't been playing against anybody. They're tired of hitting each other. So I'm really looking forward to Oklahoma coming out there swinging, hopefully covering this. This is going to be a very tight game as far as the point spread, but I think they're going to be able to cover it. So I'm going to take Oklahoma minus 28 and against Kansas State. So we're going to go ahead and write that in. I'm going to pause this for a second. Let's write that in. All right. Next, we are going to talk about Alabama. The SEC is coming back this week. And normally Alabama will go play Citadel, Sister Mary the Poor, whoever it may be, to go warm up their week. Well, in the SEC, they're not playing any out-of-conference games this season. So all they're playing is all SEC teams. And the SEC is playing a 10-game in-conference schedule. And no team in college football history has gone on who has played a 10-game in-conference season of 10 games of their conference, has gone on to play or even win the national championship. Never been done in college football history. So this gives the SEC a little bit more of a challenge to break that record. They broke records last year when LSU was the #1 team and they went on to win a national championship. No #1 team before that in the national championship era has gone on to win the national championship, being ranked #1 going into the Final Four. So hopefully the SEC will be able to break that barrier, send one of these teams, Bama, LSU, Florida, Georgia, whoever it may be, to the national championship or to the Final Four with a 10-game win conference. That'll be a new record that the SEC will break. All right, enough about the facts. Let's talk about Alabama versus Missouri. If you saw this game, it's minus 27.5 points. It dropped a little bit throughout the week. It might still drop. It might just hang around to 27, 28 points for Alabama. I think Alabama's going to roll. Alabama this year has a lot of defensive talent. This is probably one of the best defensive units that Nick Saban has put together in a while. Offense is going to be a little questionable. You know, Tua is not back there anymore. A couple of their receivers have gone on, left early to go to the draft. So it is going to be questionable to see how Alabama's offense runs, but their defense, from the talk I have with some of the Alabama alum and some of the coaches and players that I've been listening to, have said that this is one of Nick Saban's Alabama's best defensive units that he's had in a couple of years. So I'm really looking forward to watching this game. And there is no stats for the SEC, so I have nothing to compare this to. This is a brand new week 1 for the SEC, so I'm just going to have to go with strength on strength. And I'm going to take Alabama minus 27.5 points to beat Missouri. I bought down a half a point, so I'm at 27. Some people criticize me and says, no sevens, why do you buy down a half a point? I had a 7-leg parlay last year, and I would have won close to $50,000. And I had one team that did not cover that half a point, and it cost me 50 grand. I won the rest of the 7 legs of the games, except for that one team that lost by half a point. So I'll always buy down at half a point if I can. If it's going to work against me, I will buy down at half a point, because there's nothing worse than having that gut-wrenching feeling that you could have made $50,000 and only lose by half a point. I mean, I couldn't eat for a week almost after that. It was heartbreaking. So I'm going to take strength on strength. I think Alabama's going to roll this team. Of course, they're going to win outright, but I think they are going to cover the 27.5 points. And Missouri's going to be able to probably score about 10 to 14 points in garbage time. I think the score is probably going to be, Alabama's going to be in the 50s somewhere. Hopefully their offense can get rolling. Missouri, I don't think they're going to be able to get anything in the first 3 quarters because of how great that defense is. Like I said, I'm kind of, jumping the gun a little bit on this, but Alabama's not playing a garbage team, and I can't figure out, where everything lies just yet. But I'm going to go ahead and take Alabama minus 27.5 points against Missouri and see how we do. All right, and for our dark horse pick, we are going to go with Florida State, Miami, Florida. I believe game day is going to be down there in Miami, Florida. This is another in-state rival game. Florida State and Miami. If you look at how well Miami is playing this year, they are doing a pretty good job. I mean, I believe last year last week, I'm sorry, excuse me. I believe last week, Miami, yep, that's correct. Miami played Louisville, and there was hardly any defense in that game. I don't know if you watched that. I mean, it was pretty much an offensive shootout. There was really no defense on Miami's side. I was kind of shocked to see that. The score was 47-34 against Louisville. They did win. Every time Louisville would score a touchdown, Miami would just break off a 60-yard run, and then the next play, Louisville would score a touchdown. The next thing you know, Miami would come back and score again. They'll throw a 98-yard pass. I mean, there was no defense in this game whatsoever. If you like offensive fireworks, go back on YouTube, watch the Louisville-Miami game of this year. It was insane. There was hardly any defense in that game. They also played against UAB, against 31. They had 31-14. So if you look at Miami is minus 11. It was minus 10. There's a lot of money moving towards Miami in this game. But if you look at all the previous scores, so we had 31-14 against UAB. Louisville was 47-34. They covered 10, 11 points in each of these games. So that's the reason why I'm leaning towards Miami in this game. And then if you go back and you look at Florida State, they played Georgia Tech last week. The score was 13-16, and they barely lost that game. I believe, if I remember correctly, I didn't see the very last end of the 4th quarter because I had to go take care of some stuff, but they barely lost, and that game could have gone either way at the very end of the 4th quarter. And Georgia Tech is no Miami. Miami is an upgrade team from Georgia Tech, so I'm going to take Miami, Florida, minus 11. And I think that they're going to cover this game pretty easily. That's who I'm picking. And then I am going to go with, I'm going to give you the picks from our guest speaker. She went ahead and made the picks. So I'm going to write those down under Cooking with Cleavage is picks. All right, so hold on one second. All right, so we're going to go ahead and write down Miami for this one. Miami, Florida. This is going to be down there. Game day is going to be down there. It's going to be, if you watch game day these past couple of weeks, it feels kind of strange looking at, there's no crowd, there's nothing to pump them up, it's weird. I mean, I feel like I'm in the twilight zone watching college game day because I'm used to having all those rowdy fans, signs everywhere and everything else. But it's just crazy times, something that you're going to tell your grandkids about and everything else. But let's go ahead and get down with our guest picks. She went ahead and made all the picks for us, so let's go ahead and dive right in and see what she says, and let's go from there. Okay, so our picks that our celebrity pick, Cooking with Cleavage, and if you haven't checked out her show, it's pretty cool. She does a lot of things, a lot of different meals, a lot of different drink ideas. So if you guys are looking for different cocktails to make, I would check it out. All right, so she has Texas A&M, To win. These are all going to be money line picks. So she didn't pick the point spread. So these are all going to be money line. So let's write that down. Money line picks. All right. So that way we don't get confused. Money line picks. She took Texas A&M. She took Bama. Alabama. She picked Oklahoma to win outright. Okay. And then she picked Miami, Florida. Woohoo! All right, so let's see. Now we have to get Miami to win this game. For all your Florida State fans, I'm sorry, but this is just how she's picking them. All right, and she picked Texas to beat Texas Tech. And she picked LSU to beat Mississippi State. That should be a really good game. Mississippi State always plays LSU tough. So, and then she picked Georgia to win outright also. So this is her picks. She went ahead, and there's the parlay ticket. She went ahead and just parlayed all of them. So she went ahead and made those picks and made it official on a sports betting ticket. So those are her picks. That's what she went with. And that's pretty much about it, guys. I did receive some emails about the Miami, Florida game. That's the reason why I made it my dark horse pick. If there's anything you want me to dive into, just please let me know. And we'll go into it. We'll look at the games coming up. I know there is a couple of key games coming up with LSU. Auburn's coming up that you wanted me to look at. I had a couple of fans reach out to me about the Auburn-LSU game coming up. And there was an Alabama game that you wanted me to look at. I don't remember what it was. I have to go back and take a look. But anyway, I'm hoping for another great, successful week. Like I said, last week we finished 4-0. It'd be great if we can do it again. I made a lot of money last week hitting that 4-0. And don't forget, also, time out before you cut me off. Hopefully you're still with me. Don't forget, if you want to make the money like I showed you last week, and if you guys followed my blueprint, you made a lot of money with me. Even if you only bet $10, you still made $300. I bet a little bit more money than that. Made a lot of money. Probably more money than I made at the craps table in a while. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a two-leg parlay, right? Just like we did last week. We're going to take Texas. We're going to take Oklahoma. So we're going to take, the Big 12. And we're going to go here. We're going to tie those two teams together. And then we're going to take the other two-leg parlay. We're going to take Bama. That does not look like a B. Bama. And then we're going to take Miami, Florida. All right. And then I had people comment about this last week. You can do whatever you want to do. You can do a four-leg parlay, which I do, or you can do a round robin, okay? It is totally up to you, whatever you want to do. And then you're going to tie all of them together. So we're going to do Texas. We're going to do Oklahoma. We're going to do Bama. And then we're going to do Miami, okay? And then we're going to do, if you do a four-leg parlay, you're going to make more money. If you do a round robin, it's going to cost you more money and you're not going to make as much money, but you're guaranteed to win a little bit. But what we're trying to do is trying to hit the bonus. So that's all we're trying to do. So, if we win all four games, then we can make that huge parlay, that four-leg parlay, like we did last week. So that's what I'm trying to say, and hopefully you guys bring that into view. And hopefully you guys, you like these picks. If you want to pick something different, just let me know. Send your comments below. I like hearing from you guys. If there's a game you want me to dive into, please let me know. And I wish you guys lots of luck for this coming up Saturday. And I'll talk to you next week.